My name is Teddy Goff. I was the digital director for the president's re-election campaign. So that meant that I oversaw about 200 people who did everything that the campaign did on the internet, everything that you could actually read and touch and interact with, not the back-end technology systems, but the content, the videos, the email, social media, design, and everything that you could actually, as a user, play with. One of the most important things I think the campaign did, just from a structural perspective, is, and this was true in '08 as well, is it had digital as a co-equal department. In previous campaigns, digital might have been subordinated to field or to finance, or maybe you'd have some digital fundraising person within fundraising and a digital organizing person within field. On both of our campaigns, digital was its own department. People often ask me who approved tweets. I approve tweets, and I didn't need the campaign manager to tell me it was okay. And so that meant that one, our incentive was to run a really good digital program. We were obviously accountable to and working with other departments who had goals, but we were thinking in a sort of a bureaucratic way about how can we run a good program and hire people who care about that and have an organization that's shaped and structured and cultured exclusively to do that. It also meant that we could move at the pace of the internet and not at the pace of the finance department or the field department, each of which have their different priorities, and so are rightly and appropriately working at different paces. And so that's a really big thing. I do some work with nonprofits, and they all have wrestled with this issue of how can they move faster and be nimble and sort of develop processes that that move at the pace of social media. It's obviously very challenging to change organizations, but at the same time, it's not that challenging. Hire a couple people, give them the authority to put out the content that needs to be put out and to approve it themselves, and trust in them and give them space, and it can work. Look, everyone at this conference has a complex business, and I don't presume to know more about the future of those businesses than they do. But it is clear that while it's a pretty scary and disruptive time for publishing, and that's not just true of book publishing. That's obviously true of news media, magazines, and everything else. It's a moment of great opportunity. I was speaking to a friend, I said this on stage, I was speaking to a friend in the media who said that, one of the kind of interesting things about the rise of the internet is that interest in international news has never been higher. International news being, one of the hardest things to sell and get anyone to care about in the entire news business. This election was the most discussed social media event of the year, more than the Olympics. And so more people having more access to information, more access to education, more access to news, more access to content, more abilities to discuss that content, share that content, produce that content if that's what they want to do, is going to be a good thing for people who care about books. Now, how to actually make it a good thing and make some money off of it and keep the businesses going is a really complicated question. And that's a marketing challenge, but I think it's more than a marketing challenge. It's really a strategic challenge. And it has to do with content. It has to do with authors. It has to do with the structure of publishing houses, with the sales mechanisms and all that. And so this is going to be a conversation that goes on for the rest of all of our lives. But we're all screwing up if we can't figure out how to take a situation in which billions of people are getting access to information and education and content and make that a good thing for the publishing industry. That should be doable. And so I think this is a pretty exciting conference because you've got people here, who are working on exactly that, and that's vital work.